All right, team, you can get started now.
Fantastic. Thank you so much, Emily. Good morning and good afternoon, wherever you're dialing in from this afternoon. Uh, Thank you for joining our customer event. My name is Deborah DeCuto, and I manage the video collaborations or team workspace solutions here at Logitech Canada. And I gladly manage the relationship between Logitech and CDW Canada. Joining me is our resident expert, solution engineer extraordinaire, Jay Galicia, for today's session. We have a lot of ground to cover, but we want to just take a moment to go over some of the items that we're going to be talking to you about. In addition to handing out some interesting prizes, which I know Emily will step in and talk to you a little bit about as well. But in terms of our agenda, here's what we're going to be covering off in this session. So we're going to be talking a little bit about AI and how AI is integrated within Logitech solutions. We're going to be talking about our relationships with Microsoft, Teams, and Google, and Zoom as well. Sorry. And also software matters. So we're no longer just a hardware company. We're going to be talking a little bit about how Logitech builds and advanced features in our software to help you improve your meeting room experience and personal workspace solutions as well. And writing on that, we're going to be talking about a little bit about some of our new solutions as well that we've recently launched to market. And topping that off is we're going to be talking a little bit about our services and how you can protect your investment, and talking a little bit about data and analytics to ensure that your Logitech solutions are working the best within your organization. So I'm just going to kick it off to Jay to lead the conversations. If you have any other questions or comments, please put them in the chat and we'll address them throughout the presentation. We want to make sure that you get out on time, but I'll kick it off to Jay to go from there.
Awesome. Appreciate that introduction. Hello, everyone. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening to the ones that are going to be watching the video later on. So there's definitely it's a great packed agenda, right? So I'm definitely going to try to keep this as adamant as I can. We're definitely going to talk about what we do from a hardware perspective on our actual auto framing, pretty much AI, right? The sound reinforcement that we have in our current devices. How does that integrate with Microsoft with their Copilot? We also do have partnerships with Zoom. Everyone in across the playing field is doing the same thing, right? Zoom is doing their own name tagging, similar to Google's Gemini. Microsoft is doing their Copilot. That being said, right, we've been working on a lot of things here at Logitech, mainly when it comes to not only the video conferencing rooms, we also got you folks covered from outside of this space, right? So when you're looking at across the portfolio of Logitech, there's a lot of hardware. The key takeaway at the end of the day is that we're here to solve your pain point, right? Whether it's outside of the meeting room or inside that space, whether it needs video or not, everything within our devices that we engineer it is really to solve for a pain point for our customers. And talking about pain points, right? A quick summary, the reason why we came out with Logitech Sight is that even though our cameras are really great when it comes to the auto framing that's built in, the noise suppression, it never solves anything when it comes to the in-room conversation because it's not a 360 camera. So all of a sudden, if I'm like, hey, I told you to get me those TPS reports, you don't know if that was a joke, if somebody got that reference, if I'm smiling or whatever that is. Sight is really there to capture that in-room conversation with that. Folding that into to the upcoming releases of Copilot, Microsoft is already trialing this out in beta. All of our devices will just work, right? So when you're hearing what Microsoft is releasing, obviously all of our products will still be certified with Microsoft. That is going to be working on Teams on Windows today, as Microsoft tends to release their functionality on Windows side of that compute. And then it will make its way on the Android platform. That is going to be your native Rally Bars, Rally Bar Mini, Huddle, as well as the Roommate. So having those feature sets today, be rest assured that all your investments will work with those upcoming features when it comes to those AI. We already also have AI built in as well, right? So it's just going to work hand in hand with Microsoft, with Zoom, and with Google with their Gemini moving forward. As I mentioned, those AI capabilities, the auto tracking, the speaker view, the grid view. We even have other features where if people tends to stick outside of your conference room where it's all glass, we can also black that out, similar to like your Ring doorbell, right? So we have those camera zones to actually zone those individuals out. Even analog whiteboards, we can also digitize that with our scribe. And moving forward, again, we're always enhancing the capabilities of our devices. We're always hearing the feedback from our partners, our customers. How can we enhance the current portfolio, even the ones that are upcoming moving forward? So today, we do have a beta software that is soon to be released for general availability, which is smart switching. The great thing about Sight is that it does capture that in-room conversation, but often we do have that tendency to look in front of the displays or the camera in the front. And we also want to capture that view and still send that to the far end for them to see, right? So smart switching is always going to switch to give you the best view, whether from looking in front of the camera or talking to the folks inside that space. So that's currently in beta today. So a lot of things with our partnership with Microsoft and Zoom when it comes to those AI and Google as well. So if you have any questions, always again don't hesitate to reach out to our partners over here. We can get you in line with our account management team, talk about what's to come, what's there, what is supported. But be aware, all of our devices are going to be working with Copilot, Zoom's upcoming AI capabilities with their smart tagging, and as well with Google's Gemini with those Google Meet devices. So that being said, we do have a lot of products, or actually one of the new products, right? So I'm sure everybody in this call have seen this device. It's been around for 7 years, longer than I've been here with my tenure here at Logitech. This is actually one of the first video bars in the market that made its way, right? So everyone looked at this and they're like, wow, this is actually, I would say it's pretty much kind of like the poster child that kind of set the whole video bar up in the storm with all the other manufacturers, right? It was really revolutionary because it's a USB device. I can just plug it in, use it for any client as I want. And again, it's been around for 7 years. It's still our top selling. I think Deb and I looked at the numbers, and it's around the millions of how much we have sold the meetup to date. The biggest takeaway was, hey, it's a great device, but we need to have that audio a bit louder. This is a lot of feedback. We kind of put it in a four category bucket here. We need more modern optics because again, when you're looking at the stare and compare of our devices like the rally bars have more auto framing capabilities than the original Vita. We also want to be able to manage this device. Uh, all of our devices, Logitech is really keen on cable management. Is that something that you guys can also do with the next upcoming meetup? And as well, when it comes to a lot of our customers that are very into sustainability, how is this device actually manufactured with recycled plastics? So we took all those key takeaways and feedback. And lo and behold, this is available today. We do have the meetup too. So we took all those key takeaways and introduced the new meetup 2 within that space. Again, when the original meetup was built, it is really meant for those small huddle spaces. I've been actually heard that customers have used the meetup 2 or actually the original meetup on town hall meetings. So I've seen customers use this for a meeting for 40 individuals. Really not meant for that space, but they said it still worked. But when you're looking at the meetup and the meetup 2, it's really meant for those huddle and small spaces moving forward. Deployment is really straightforward, right? Similar to the original meetup, meetup 2 can be utilized in your PC. You can also use it for BYOD as the original meetup would be. And then we also have a single cable solution that I'll also talk about as well during the presentation today. So a really basic approach on that. The highlights, again, as I mentioned, right? what are we doing from upgrading those optics that a lot of you have seen us do with our current generation rally bars that we have in our portfolio. We have the standard group framing, the speaker tracking. So whether that individual is standing right here, it is still going to give you that 120-degree field of view. It's always going to frame me in the rules of three, so it knows where I'm at. And then we also have that meeting equity, which we also have called grid view. So it will put you in your own Hollywood square in that space. The other integrations also is that, hey, you know, Jay likes to stand outside and wait for those individuals for his room to be available. Let me zone that area out. So we do have that camera zone also within the new Meetup too as well. And again, we also do have partner integration. So the old Meetup was just a USB peripheral. They didn't have any operating system in it. It's this device also has, I'm kind of calling it like a Collab OS Lite, because again, it's not giving you a one-touch join capability, but I can also integrate this to be a Teams room or Zoom, or use it for digital signage within app space. That gives me more like a splash page when the device is not being used. Or if it's for digital signage like app space, I can actually, let's say, put up, a video or alerts or everything else within that space whenever it's not in usage. As I mentioned, we did have those capabilities for BYOD. So what's going to be coming into the actual box itself is two cables, right? Similar to how you would connect the original Meetup. You have the USB-C, but now you have that HDMI cable. But nowadays, we do also have a lot of customers that don't have HDMI ports on their laptops or their BYOD, right? Or mostly everyone's transitioning to that USB-C approach. So we do have a single cable, which is an optional. It is a 5-meter cable. The great thing about this, it is using DP out mode. That means you don't need to install drivers. I can just plug in a single cable, take over that device, go to my Teams meeting, Zoom, Google Meet, whatever that is, just using a single cable from there. So we do have that solution today as a single cable approach. And then we also wanted to talk about cable management, right? So all the cables are going to be managed right in the back of the device, similar to all of our solutions. And we're also cognizant of our existing Meetup customers, right? They might have invested into the original mounts that the Meetup 1 came with, the TV mounts. The Meetup 2 will also be compatible with those original mounts, whether it's the XL mount or the original mount. So it's just a nice replacement or a refresh in that space. Obviously, if it's a net new space, you can also, the Meetup 2 also comes with a multi-mount. So you can actually mount this above the display. I actually have mine right above there. I can also open up that same mount, use it as a wall mount, or just use it as a stand if I do have a credenza right in front of that display as well. So, and again, we're very cognizant of our, whether if it's a net new room or existing customers trying to replace their original Meetup, so it will just work with their existing mouse as well as when it comes to management, right? So it does have a HD, network port, so you can actually manage this within your Teams Admin Center, Zoom device management, Google Admin. Also, in conjunction, if you folks are using our Logitech Sync portal, it will also be managed there as well. So, and all the I/O ports are in the back. And as I mentioned, you can also, in combination with your management tool today, you can also manage this within Logitech Sync. So, and again, sustainability is always key. So it is made out of 62% recycled plastics, as well as our packaging as well, right? So if it is certified when it comes to that. What's in the box? Definitely just your standard two cables, as I mentioned earlier. That single cable is also optional, right? So do be aware if you want to have that single cable, that is something that we do offer in 5 meters. If you need it to be a longer cable, you would need to get that same DP alt mode cable. Maybe if you need it to be a 10-meter cable, it does need to have that technology built into that cable. So it's not just your standard USB-C to C, that cable needs to have that DP alt mode to provide that single cable connection to the Meetup 2. So, and with that, you're probably going to be asking, it's like, so I know you guys already released the Rally Bar Huddle. What's the biggest differentiator with the Rally Bar Huddle with the Meetup 2? Meetup 2 is really meant for your BYOD spaces, right? So it's not going to be your one-touch join spaces, or even if you have a dedicated compute there. Somebody asked the question, does it work with Google Meet? Yes, it definitely does work with Google Meet with that. Whether it's a Google Meet Chromebox or I'm just using the Meetup 2 on my Google Meet client, that will also work as well. Rally Bar Huddle has that full CollabOS operating system. So if I'm outfitting a huddle space with the tap controller for that one-touch join, that's where I'll actually deploy the Rally Bar Huddle versus the Meetup 2. I'm just going to have a single cable and people are going to walk in and bring their devices there. So good question. Again, our portfolio is ever so expanding. As you folks have seen this original Meetup 7 years ago, and now we do have the Meetup 2, Rally Bar Huddle, Rally Bar Mini, and obviously our flagship, which is our Rally Bar. So when we do prescribe our solutions, when you're talking to us, our partners there, we're always going to be cognizant of how big that space is, and we're always going to prescribe the right camera and the right solutions in that space. So anything on your end, Deb, about that?
No, just chatting away with some folks who have already purchased the Meetup 2, and we've already addressed the compatibility with Meetup 2 with some of the leading video service platforms. So I think we're good to move on.
Awesome. Perfect. That's awesome. So as I mentioned, right, and again, inside the video conferencing room, outside the conferencing room, we folks got you covered. One of the key things that I've been seeing a lot of customers here, especially everywhere, every major city, right? A lot of them are asking their employees to come back into the office, whether it's 2 days a week, 3 days, whatever that is. There's a prominent coffee company here in Seattle. You folks probably heard of them. They use a lot of our scheduling panels, but they also don't have any assigned spaces for their employees anymore. And most of those are really open areas, right? Kind of like a hoteling area where if you do have a speaker when you're joining meetings, that's going to be a little bit intrusive for everyone that's there, right? So you would have to book your space, whether for that day, for an hour, whatever, how long that is. The next day, the next hour, somebody else can also book it from that. How do you solve for that? I just want to plug in, again, a single cable similar to what we're doing with the Meetup, but still be able to actually see if that space is available for me. I don't need to like go back to open up my laptop, open up my mobile phone and book it from there. So we actually engineered a device, kind of took our dock and our scheduling panel, kind of blended it together, and we created the Logitech Flex. So as you folks can see here, this dock does not have any speakers whatsoever, right? We don't want it to be intrusive. We also want to have it to be able to be managed by a lot of our IT admin customers. Single cable, it will charge your laptop similar to our original Logitech up to 100 watts. And then we do support our partners as well when it comes to their different environments, right? So if you're a Microsoft Teams shop, it will give you that nice Teams look and feel scheduling panel. If you're Zoom, you can also run this as a Zoom. And then if you're not in those two categories, we also have our own booking software, which is the Logitech Desk Booking software embedded with this device. So within our, you know, the actual challenges is like, how can we actually bring more people back into the office, right? It's more of like, how can I make that commute worthwhile, right? I need to earn that commute at the end of the day. I think I've heard that multiple times. Earn that commute because if you look in your home office today, I'm sure it's very comfortable. You got all your devices working from home. How can I make that also be, you know, palatable for all my end users coming into the office, especially now we're asking them to come in 3 or 2 days a week, right? So we engineered the dock as well. to have all those secured cables. So you would really have to unplug that HDMI cable or that camera really hard. You would end up breaking that device. So IT doesn't have to worry about, oh, just the webcam's missing, the keyboard is missing, or all of a sudden they always have to scramble and make sure there's always spares. All those cables that are going to be used from a daily usage is going to be secured behind the Logitech Flex there. And then if for the end users that are just walking into the office, there are USB ports in front of the Logitech so they can plug in their wireless headsets, or if they want to bring in their own peripherals, there is a USB-A and two USB-C ports right there from the dock itself. From an experience standpoint, right, obviously with our collaboration with our service providers like Microsoft, it's going to give you that nice looking feel from a team room perspective, similar to that scheduling panel, right? So whatever Microsoft is going to be doing in the future when it comes to, I believe they're calling it Spaces, they're just going to be updating that app, and then you're going to take on all the functionalities and feature sets that they have currently today. That interface is going to be similar to the scheduling panel that sits outside. For Zoom, Zoom is definitely more have more experience on that, so they actually have updated their app similar to actually what we're doing here. So you can actually see certain maps within the Zoom workspaces. So it's going to have that look and feel as a Zoom workspace room. And then if you folks are not, again, within those two buckets, you can also use our booking software. So from our booking software, you can actually open up the Logitech mobile app. You can actually see which spaces are available. I can actually send an email to Deb and say, hey, I'm going to be coming in on Tuesday. I'm going to meet up with the marketing team. Let's collaborate. I can actually make that more of a social environment with my other colleagues in that space. Oh, I did forget to mention, uh, we also support app space. So there's another ecosystem similar to what we have on the actual meetup. App Space is being used as one of those streaming giants, and they looked at the Logitech. They're like, "Hey, we're not doing any of these three. Can you load App Space?" Since it is using Android, we're like, "Sure." So it is also supported with App Space if you are using App Space today for digital signage. So. And definitely that is the Logitech Flex. Any questions on that?
Yeah, Jay, if we could just roll back to the meetup too. We do have a question from Cameron before we move on. So he's asking regarding for the HDMI input, does it allow you to do screen share from your Google Meet with a thin client? We would have plugged in for the input where the users would be logged into their VDI desktop.
So the HDMI in for the Meetup 2, so
Yeah,
that would actually be sharing whatever they're plugged into, right? So whether they're using their laptop, their VDI, that is just going to share what's there on that compute, right? So
perfect.
do you treat it just as any content? So whether they're using the two cable approach, right? So the device does come with two cables. That HDMI is going to be sharing whatever that's there on the laptop, their VDI, their Citrix, their PowerPoint, their Excels, or that single cable approach will also do that same capability. So
Perfect. Thank you.
yeah, good question. Yeah, so just a nice layout right there of the inputs and outputs, right? So you got one HDMI in, and then you got one HDMI out that is going to be for your display. Ah, good question. Definitely no limitations on that. So just treat it as just a standard HDMI cable sharing content if you're using uh, a VDI, Citrix, whatever that is on your desktop.
Sorry, one more PS to that is I assume you do not have a bar with compute with a native VMware Horizon login.
Correct. No, that's just mainly a desktop application. So
Fantastic. Thank you.
yeah. Good question. So with that, right? So keeping in line with personal workspaces, there's also a big ask of, is there a way I can actually still have a headset that is dongleless? The dongle has been around for many years. I think ever since the beginning of wireless headsets, right? It has not changed. And usually when you have a dongle, whether it's a USB-C or USB-A, you end up a lot of I have a bag of dongles. I
Collection.
actually have, I have a collection of it here in my cabinet, right? It's nice, and then all of a sudden you're like, which dongle pairs with which? Or if you're very cognizant of which dongle, sometimes if you're moving around, whether it's a USB-C or USB-A, you might accidentally bump into something, and all of a sudden either that port in your laptop breaks, or both, or the dongle breaks as well, right? So when we looked at the environment, we do want to come up with something that is also supported with the new native Bluetooth that Microsoft is working on. So with the new Zone 305, this is going to be really targeted for those audiences within that core, people that is coming into the office, whether they're using the Logitech Flex, and also providing them that dongle-less option moving forward. So this is going to be something that Microsoft is working on. This is going to be mainly for the Windows 11 and higher. And what Microsoft is actually doing is they're approaching this where they're going to provide you that nice dongle-less approach as if you had that dongle. Because if you actually use your native Bluetooth today, right? You go far away, all of a sudden it's like, hey, I'm only like 5 feet away. I sound like I'm a robot, or popcorn's going in my headsets. And we don't want to have that approach. So Microsoft actually have that native Bluetooth capabilities that they're working on, and this is going to be certified with their new Teams client as well. So having that requirement, and again, our target audience within that core audience, we also want to make sure that it's also affordable and also very comfortable, right? So this is a really low price for a dongleless headset. It's about 122 grams. Wireless freedom. You got 20 hours of talk time with this, and you can go as far as 30 meters away, which is really far, right? So this is something I can just wear around. I don't need to worry about losing any connection to that device. And also, I don't need to have all of these plethora of dongles that I have to carry around with me. Might have to put that in a keychain and walk around with it. So it is going to be certified with Microsoft's new native Bluetooth headset. So Microsoft is actually elevating their native Bluetooth within Windows 11, and then you're going to be able to utilize the dongle-less approach as well. Question. Do we have any mono version of the Zone 305? From what I've heard, and Deborah can keep me honest on this, it is still going to be stereo right now. There might be, again, nothing that I've not heard of. We're going to wait and see how the market reacts to this. And if there's a big need for a mono, more than likely we'll probably create one. But right now it is a stereo solution. So,
Yes.
good question. Any questions on that? So definitely really sub price. I think here in the US, it's going to be around sub $100
Yes, I
US.
agree. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's a very low price solution for just having that dongle-less approach. We are going to have same capabilities for other, active noise cancellation, everything else a bit higher price. But for the Zone 305, it's going to give you that nice sub price and giving you those native Bluetooth capabilities. Oh, great.
Thank you,
Loader,
Roy.
you put the price there.
$99.
Yeah. Yeah. So when you look at that, it's a very nice solution, especially for your end users, right? So, and again, what I mentioned, it's always something that we're working on when it comes to different spaces, right? So whether you're working from home, your own office, you're on a go, we got different solutions for that. And every spaces, focus rooms, huddle rooms. Uh, when you look at any space, and it's not just for our customers, anyone in this industry, when you walk around in your office today, right? You're like, oh, wow, there's a phone booth there. I can outfit that with technology. There's a huddle space that doesn't have any video. There's only a display and a Logitech webcam. There's something that you can put a meetup to there, right? So every spaces that you're walking around your office, we're more than likely be able to outfit that with our technology there, right? So, and again, all of our devices does come with your standard 2-year warranty. We do have elevated services. Deb and I, we kind of call it like, I think, bumper to bumper, right? The select services
That's right.
on that end. That is also a great way to have that peace of mind when it comes to your investment, right? So standard support, that is always part of our products. And then we also have the extended warranty, or I forgot to update this. This is actually going to be called our new Essentials as well, formerly known as Sync Plus. And then now you got this nice all-in-one services, 24/7 support, and everything else when it comes to your investment. The one great thing that we also have added with our new Essentials and Select, not only is that you're going to get the best service there, you're you're going directly to our tier 2, tier 3 support. You can get next business day RMAs. We also have enhanced the capabilities of what we provide within our management portal, right? So as I mentioned earlier, Logitech Sync. This is our tenant here. You guys hopefully have been using Logitech Sync. Again, it's free at no charge. I do say 99% of Logitech Sync is free. 99%. 1% is that services that we do offer, which is Select or Essentials. Everything here is free for me to utilize. I can update my rally bars, whether it's all the 81 rally bars across my organization, change them from that default group framing to speaker view. I can also look and see if there's any updates that Logitech has. I can also partake the beta channels that's already out there that a lot of our customers can actually utilize today. If I want to try out smart switching, that is all free today. That 1% really comes with those paid services, right? So those analytics or insights, I can actually see how often that room is utilized or underutilized. We have a lot of customers or end users that likes to take home those tap IPs because they think they're iPads. I can get email alerts, be notified proactively, like, hey, somebody actually unplugged that controller in that room or those microphones because they feel like, Big Brother is listening to them. If you also have ServiceNow, this will also integrate with your ServiceNow ticketing. It will create an auto ticket and auto close it. One of these new key features that we have added with our paid services was remote UI access. So how many of you folks, I'm sure you guys have came across this where an end user walks into their room, you have that one touch join, and they're still having issues to join that meeting, right? Some of them might still be kind of new to technology. It's still hard for them to even start that call. With the new remote UI, which is part of our select or essentials, I can actually go ahead and remote into any of those devices that is using our operating system, which is ColabOS. That is the Android operating system. Keep in mind, we're not reinventing the wheel on Windows. You have your team viewer and other remote softwares that's out there. This is really targeted for our Android specific ColabOS operating system. So if I actually remote into that, this is a local network access. So this is not hitting the cloud. I either have to be VPN'd in or within my network and actually go ahead and start that session. Oh, actually good security. It actually kicked me out. It told me like, hey, you're just there for a while. I can get that access code. And again, there's that security level. So I would have to get that access code within for my sync tenant, or I can just go here directly. it actually even gives me a sound indicator inside that space that, by the way, somebody's remoted in. As you folks have noticed, it tells me how many displays I have in that room. There's a bar there. Could have been a Rally Bar Mini. Whoever's the end user, right? It's telling them, by the way, there's somebody's remoting in here, which is your IT admin. So this is a great tool. A lot of our customers don't have boots on the ground. I'm not going to send somebody, whether it's a 30-minute drive from another campus or, another state, just to help them start their meeting. I can actually go ahead and start that meeting for that end user that's having an issue there. And when that meeting has started, the performance on this is, again, this is live, right? So I have my trusty cutout board, which is Elizabeth Olsen right there, as if I'm actually there in person. If I'm like, hey, okay, perfect. All right, Mr. End User, looks like your room is good. Let me change it to the speaker tracking or that grid view. All right, how does that look for you on your end? All right, that looks good. Let me go ahead and stop the remote session and go by your call. So this is a great tool for a lot of our customers moving forward, right? So you have that capability as if you're there in person, and everything you're just using that remote UI access. You can start the whiteboarding if it's a Teams room, Zoom, Google Meet. You're just using that as if I'm there. So definitely reach out to if you have any questions about that. This is available today using our Logitech Essentials, or if you want to have that full bumper to bumper services support, which is part of our Logitech Select as well. So again, when you're using our Logitech Sync, this is a free tool. You folks can definitely sign up for this today. If you want to have those premium part of those features, the analytics, the email alerts, the ServiceNow integration, as well as this remote UI access, definitely reach out and let us know if you guys need to have Essentials or Logitech Select. So, any questions on that? Oh yeah, perfect. Yes, Essentials are definitely available for 1 to 3 and 5 years. All right. So with that, I want to leave you guys with something. Obviously, we do have a lot of things that is always cooking in the background. Logitech is always trying to reinvent the wheel here, right? So let me make sure I have my slides with sound. Appreciate your folks' time today, right? So again, don't hesitate to reach out to myself, to Deb, the team here at CDW. We're always here to help you folks outfit any space, right? Whether it's inside the conference room, outside the conference room, your personal workspaces, or even your home office, right? We have a lot of solutions for a lot of your end users. What's coming next? Definitely, uh, don't post this on your social media, but definitely have fun. So
Elon Musk, just a few days ago, announced an ambitious plan to use your brain to control your computer. Well, at Logitech, we may be small, but we're ambitious too. We're not going to waste time on your brain. We're going to work on the rest of your body. We have a big idea. We've taken one of the products you always loved from us, a mouse called the trackball, and we blew it up. After 5 years of development, we're introducing the human trackball. Now that bigger mouse goes underneath you, and with just your instead of the little brain you have, you can control spreadsheets, PowerPoint, Word. You can drop and drag. You can do it all. It's large enough that you can sit on it, and you can control your computer right through your. It's ergonomic, it's efficient, and it's fun. Well, I hope you're going to love the human trackball as much as we do, and you'll want to work your off.
perfect. Pre-orders are coming out soon. So
Thank you for that, Jay. Yeah, it's very cheeky. I do also want to call out that Jay's been a fantastic resource to myself and the CDW team. Jay, as you can see, has all the toys best-in-class toys set up in his home lab. So if any of you folks are interested in seeing a bit of a virtual demo, working with the CDW and Logitech team, Jay and I and the CDW team are more than happy to coordinate and collaborate a team meeting with you to kind of take a deeper dive on some of our solutions. And at the end of the call, we always like to make sure that we answer all of your questions, making sure that you've got peace of mind, knowing that you can also proceed with confidence in placing your orders, knowing that you know what you're going to get with Logitech. There's no questions unanswered, and we always try and do our best to make sure that we answer everything that you've got to make sure that we're satisfying your requests. So feel free to reach out to us. We do have a dedicated person in the CDW office to help coordinate so those collaboration opportunities. So reach out to your CDW rep and we can get something set up with you as well. Tyler's asking a question. Is there a real What's Coming video? No, this session was all about talking a little bit about some of the newer solutions, the Zone 305, the Meetup 2, and we reviewed some of the solutions and the best practices on the site side. So we hope that they were able to answer some questions there. Is there a human-sized trackball for real? It is sweet. No, that's just a cheeky video that our former president put together. I'm not sure if it was part of an April Fool's joke, but we always like to have fun with putting something in the market just to kind of throw a little fun into the marketplace. Fantastic. Any other questions or comments that anyone has? Fantastic. Well, it looks like we're going to give you some time back in your calendar. Oh, wait a minute. Oh, yes. Perfect. Thanks, Emily. So Emily's indicating that there will be a post-event survey after this webinar session where you can provide your feedback and get a chance to earn a couple of Brio 4K webcams. So fantastic if you complete that webinar shortly after this event, and we'll be more than our pleasure to hand out some lucky some lucky Brio 4K webcams to some lucky folks. Thanks so much for your support, and look forward to meeting with you, and have a fantastic rest of your day. Thank you so much.
Thanks, everyone. Bye for now.
Thank you, Jay. Bye for now.